Hello my fellow freedom builders and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency and PayPal, since PayPal has announced very exciting news that they are gonna incorporate Bitcoin and 3 other cryptocurrencies into their ecosystem, and that could be a good advantage to PayPal, but maybe even a bigger advantage to the cryptocurrencies. So let's have a look at that today, both at the PayPal stock and what this Bitcoin thing actually means. First of all, a very short commercial. I have put a little link in the text below to the buildingfreedom.dk, where I am starting a new concept called the financial turtle. Right now it's just a landing page where you can put your email in and you can start receiving some emails from me. I put a little investment course together, and over 10 weeks you'll get 10 different videos from me, but I'll also send you a lot of other stuff, some articles I'm writing and so on. So if you're interested in knowing more about what I'm doing here, then sign up for the email newsletter. You can see me in person here talking about what you will receive. So that was that. And also, if you haven't liked us on the Building Freedom Facebook site, feel free to do that. Now let's get to the video here. Now PayPal, just to look at the graph for a beginning here. PayPal has been a buy in our strategy here, where we are going for trends, and it has been a buy since 131 here. It ended yesterday at 203.93, and the pre-market it's a bit up even further here. It is in a very good trend channel, and of course that is a stock that interests us. So as long as we are in the trend, we are in the green zone here, then it is an interesting stock. Now, if we look at the technicals before we go into the overall Bitcoin cryptocurrency, then we can see here in Stockopedia that it has a good quality of earning, it has some good momentum, but the value is really terrible. And I'll take a look at that in the fast graph chart just in a second here. But when we look at the PEG ratio, it is 2.2. As you know, I like it around 2, but preferably below. But 2.2 is fair enough, meaning that we are not paying too much for future growth. So the PE ratio is 48.4, but with the earnings per share growth, we can actually see some very low PEG ratio here. You can also see that the earnings per share normalized in the blue chart, the blue graphs over here. It is going up just like we want to. Now the two last bars of course are estimates, but I think they will be met, and I'll show you that in a second why I think that. Free cash flow going up nicely, just like I wanted to see. Working capital going up, net debt is negative, interest coverage 100. So there's really nothing here that we don't like. Out of 44 brokers, they are all saying buy, strong buy-ish here. And yeah, that's about it. That's all we need to know. This is within the frames that I'm allowed to buy in if we are just looking at these fundamentals. So we can go on and dig deeper into the analysis. Now, when we explore this value bit here, if we take it into the fast graph, as you know, I sometimes use, then we can see that it has its brown orange line here. That is the earning, and this is the normalized PE ratio. And it has for some years, now we don't have too much data here, but for some years it has been hovering around, oscillating around the blue line here. And that indicates that that is an okay fair value. However, the last year and a half, it has completely run away from that. And that can be okay if they really can explode their earnings. But when we're looking at this earnings line here, they are growing their earnings with 20 to 25% per year, and that's fair enough. But the rise in stock price right now has actually got us up in an area. Let's just look at the forecast 3 to 5 years out here. And this is their growth rate here right now, and if they can keep that of course will be great. If we have the price earning line here extrapolated out, then of course they can grow from 200 to 600, and that is great. However, if we are taking a more normalized approach to it and saying maybe it cannot keep the crazy growth numbers, then we can go out here, even if we are going with the PE here of, is that PE of 35? Yes, I think it is. If we go with that, then we can see that before the price right now is actually a fair value, we need to go 2.5 years out in time. And if we go out here, we can see that in 3.5 years, if we are going with the price earning of 35 here and these high growth numbers, so that is included in here, we can actually expect only to make 6.5% per year, including dividend if there are any. So what I'm saying here is not that PayPal is not an interesting stock to invest in. What I'm saying is that it is not something you should invest in because you want to take advantage of some low pricing, some good value. Because what I really do like to invest in, as you know, is growing stocks, but growing stocks coming from a value area down here and then growing up and meeting its earnings potential up here. What we're going to see here right now, just in the next couple of years, is actually a potential loss, maybe break even over the next couple of years. Now, with all this Bitcoin crypto focus, it might explode in price, but if you are going to invest in it, you're going to need to do it out of the technical analysis and not anything about the value. I have seen analysis already pointing at these numbers and saying, yeah, a stock this strong will definitely have to go up. No, it doesn't. There's no certainties here, and it has already gone up quite a lot. And just since the bottom here, we are up something like 150%. So a lot of the future growth is priced in here. So it's only if you think that there'll either be a lot of hype in the stock or that they will come up with some amazing new technology offsprings here or innovations, then you should go into PayPal, because seen from an earnings point of view, there's not much reason to go into it right now. All right, let's get to the Bitcoin stuff because that is very interesting. Now, if you're not too familiar with PayPal and their history, I'll link to this below. It is from their investors relation website. You can see here it was founded back in 1998, and there's this timeline down here that where you can scroll and see what has happened the different years. In 2002 they go public, and they announced that they have agreed to be acquired by eBay. And then the history just goes on. They acquired VeriSign, they surpassed 100 million users. And when we get up here, you can see 2009 available in 24 countries. When we get up to 2013, they are acquiring Braintree and Venmo. They are acquiring Zoom in 2015, iSettle, Hyperwallet, a lot of the brands that you know, they have taken over these. Also the what's called the Honey Science Corp here. So they have been acquiring a lot of companies, and today they have gone from just being some sort of payment thing online to be a very, very complex and well integrated platform for a lot of different payment related stuff here. So I'll link to this below and you can read more about them. In here also is their press release on this Bitcoin. PayPal launches new service enabling users to buy, hold and sell cryptocurrencies. And as for a start, it is Bitcoin, it is Bitcoin Cash, it is Ethereum, and it is Litecoin. That is the available cryptocurrencies, but I think more are coming to the program. They are partnering up with the Paxo Trust Company that is running the entire crypto setup for them. And they have been granted this a first of its kind conditional bit license by the New York State Department. There is a lot of details here, and they are telling why they are going to use this. Of course, one of the reasons why they are doing this, otherwise than it is a reasonable move to make, is that their competitor Square that I went through when I talked about the ARK Invest ETF, Square is they have also taken over this Bitcoin as a at least a buy and sell. I'm not sure if you can pay with Bitcoin via Square, but you can buy and sell Bitcoin there. So of course PayPal, as a stark competitor to Square, they of course needed to go that way as well. But you can say that PayPal is a lot more an international platform that Square is, at least as far as I can tell. Square, it has the strongest platform in the United States. PayPal is very, very big all over the world, with I think it's something like 100 or 150 countries you can use PayPal in. So them taking over the Bitcoin and Ethereum and so on is actually a very good sign if you are a fan of the cryptocurrency space. Because I think, if I must be honest, it is great for PayPal, but if you look at the price on the Bitcoin, let's just have a look at that. If you look at the price of Bitcoin when PayPal announced it, then it shot up quickly. And that is because right now, with Square having it, and especially with PayPal having it, it gives a whole other credibility and usability to the cryptocurrency space. All of a sudden you can actually interact with other people with Bitcoin. Before this, it has been a bit of a hassle, and you should have this wallet, and there have been of course risk of being hacked. That is of course also a case with PayPal, but it has been a bit of a risky business to have these Bitcoins. And now with PayPal and of course also Square and other players coming into this space, it is all of a sudden becoming mainstream. And I think that moves like this by PayPal and others are something that can bring in a credibility to the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space that it has not seen before. I know that it has been here for a while. A lot of people at least know the names of the biggest cryptocurrencies, but all of a sudden you can have Mr. and Mrs. Jones actually paying and buying and selling by Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin, just as it was a normal fiat currency. And that is a big, big step. Now, a place I often go to when I have to research a stock is Seeking Alpha. It is absolutely an amazing platform. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I do have a payment version. I'm not even sure what it's called, if it's the Pro or the Premium or what it is, but it is the payment version, and in there are a lot of more in-depth articles. I'm not certain if this is a article only for paying customers, but if it is, I'll just give you a brief summary here. Now, this is investigating the investment thesis of PayPal. And I must say that PayPal and of course other payment services, Square and so on, they are, as it says here, thriving in the pandemic and building for the world beyond. Sounds a bit lofty here, but what it is that a lot of people all of a sudden are buying a lot more from home. And that is not just via Bitcoin and so on, that is just coming here in 2021, but just with normal payments. PayPal and the entire e-commerce space have seen an explosion in the growth here. The pandemic accelerates structural growth of e-commerce, and what we can see here is the percentage. Now it is it's not easy to read here, but here we see the US commerce sales and the e-commerce sales, and the black line here is the percentage of the overall retail sales in the United States that e-commerce is a part of. So 12% here in the beginning of 2020, and then all of a sudden, I think it says 16% now here at the end of 2020, and that is simply just due to the virus and the pandemic here. And as you can see, this jump here, what it states is that this virus has actually accelerated the e-commerce space and set it 2 years ahead. So the percentage they would have been at in 2 years is what they are at now. So they are taking over more and more, and PayPal is one of the strongest players here. So if you want to be to allocate some money into this e-commerce space and the entire payment space, and you want to be where the customers are spending money and PayPal is making money on that, I think PayPal is one of the strongest plays in this e-commerce area. Of course, Square is also a competitor coming up quickly, but they are not quite as mature as PayPal. PayPal is more of a worldwide brand, as far as I can tell. Of course, that leaves a lot more potential in the Square stock. If you want to go that way, I think there is a larger upside maybe in the Square stock, but you get a much more mature player here in the PayPal. They are talking about some. They say we see the growth in e-commerce penetration as sustainable, and they are using some arguments here. Visa payment volumes for card not present, and that simply means that if you go into a shop and you pay with your Visa card, that is a card present payment. But the card not present payment is when you pay, for instance, online and just type in the card number and so on. And they shows elevated levels of growth here in 2020 despite reopening of most of the US economy. So even though many of the shops are opening up again, you actually see a steady growth in this card not present payment numbers. Then the Silver Tech cohort has broadened user base, and the Silver Tech is referring to the color of the user's hair. Because what they can see is that a very large number of the customers that are a bit older and that maybe before preferred to go into shops, they are now turning to the internet, maybe with help of family and friends and so on, and they are starting to use PayPal and Visa, and PayPal are having a cooperation, of course, but they have started to use a lot of e-commerce, and that is good. And then emergence of new e-commerce use cases, and they are diving into that here. I will link to this article below. As I said, I'm not 100% certain if it is in a payment article, but if you have a subscription on Seeking Alpha, you can read it anyway. Down here, they are just showing the what PayPal actually, the technology platform, what they have today. Now, this PayPal processing is the one I personally use, and that is when I have subscriptions on different things. I simply just put it on the PayPal processing here, and it all goes automatically. When I get a new Visa card, I just have to type it in one place, and that is in the PayPal platform. And then I don't have to put in my new Visa card, all of the different places I'm subscribing to things. But they have a lot of different products here, and that is pretty much almost the same as when you look at the Square platform. So they are a very strong competitor here. So this is a big article, and is very good to learn a lot about PayPal and their different companies here. Now, another platform I often use is the SAS. And the SAS have an analysis part where they very quickly give us the reasons to buy and the reasons to sell. And up here, they are telling us all the stuff I just told you pretty much. Safety and simplicity of transaction, and the fact that it's both brand and technology pioneer and so on. All of their strategic partnerships with the Visa and MasterCard, their One Touch, their Venmo continues to bolster PayPal's stake in mobile payments. So that is growing at insane numbers, 52% year over year here. And of course, their economics, they have a very solid balance sheet. There are also some reasons to sell, and I think that is important to look at that side as well. They operate in a highly competitive global payment industry. This is not an area, it's not a sector where PayPal has it all to themselves. They are nowhere near a monopoly. So they are competing very fiercely with their competitors. There are also some other things that people normally don't mention when they talk about PayPal. And it is that they are vulnerable to foreign exchange risk, currency risk. A significant part of the company's operations are international, and thus appreciation or depreciation of the US dollar versus foreign currencies such as British pound, euro, Canadian, Australian dollar and so on impact the company's financial results. So that is actually a very big part that can move their bottom line quite a lot. Also, the company is exposed to interest rate risk from its interest rate sensitive assets. Also a thing that can cost them a lot of money if it goes the wrong way. And then of course it trades at a premium in terms of price book and so on. That is the value part. We can also see that SAS has one a bit like a fast graph here, where we can see that the 12-month earnings per share is running here, and these are the consensus estimates, and this is the stock price, and that has simply run crazy here. And as I said before, it needs to take a couple of years before the price at this point is actually reasonable if you want to compare it to the earnings. And over the long run, in my opinion, most companies are turning back at some point and hitting their earnings line. However, it can take 10 years or it could be forever with some of the big tech giants, but a run this fast away from their earnings line, that worries me a bit, and I would probably not buy it at this point. This can be a mistake because maybe it costs $1,000 in a year, and yeah, then it's just one of these mistakes where of course you can be a bit annoyed, but I think it gives good reason not to buy it here, since their earnings, even though they are growing, they are simply not growing at the same pace. So I think it would be reasonable maybe for some sideways action, maybe a bit of a drop in price, and I could pick it up down around 160, 170 if it turned around and started a trend. Alright, if we just take a quick look down here at TipRanks, also one of the platforms I usually look at, we can see the analysis here. They have 25 buys and 4 holds. And we can see right now that the price ended here the other day at 203, and the analysts are estimating somewhere between 201 and 290 in price over the next year. So that is quite fair. If we look at the overall stock analysis, where you can get from 1 to 10, then you can see that their analysis is a strong buy, the blogger opinion is a strong buy, hedge fund activity is increasing. Insiders have sold a bit of shares here worth $1 million. That's not necessarily the biggest warning signs. TipRanks investors are very positive. The news sentiment is bullish. Technicals and fundamentals are bullish. So they are, everything here screams buy. That doesn't necessarily make me want to buy it. And just looking at from the value perspective, it makes me a bit nervous. However, if I should trade this, of course, I would want to catch it here near the bottom of the regression line, and then I would probably, when it is as expensive as it is compared to the earnings, I would probably go into the 4-hour graph and then try to swing trade it. And you have seen my screening video, so you know what I'm looking for. As I am looking for the right trend in the moving averages here. I'm looking for bounces on this 20 SMA. So that could be some potential swing trades here, but I would not go in it right now for a long-term holding investment. Not right now, but if it went down here around 160, 170 and turned around again starting a trend, then I would probably consider it. So it is very exciting times with the Bitcoin and so on, and if you are interested in Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and so on, I think that PayPal, at least here seen from Denmark, where PayPal is quite large, at least most people know it. Not many people know Square, since we cannot really use it here. But if you have PayPal, then over the next year or so, you can expect that they are going to approach you and say, now we also offer this opportunity of Bitcoins. And I have seen with my own model here, I have seen that Bitcoin is very easy to trend from a trend point of view, because it gives you so good entries and exits, and it is quite easy to make money. The problem, and the reason why I haven't done it, is that the whole buying and selling of Bitcoin has been a bit complex, or maybe I've just been too lazy to really read up on how to do it. But I can see that the signals I get from a technical analysis on Bitcoin and Ethereum are absolutely world class. So if it gets easier to buy and sell Bitcoin, I think it is something I might look into. And of course, I will make some videos about it so you can see how I do it. Now, that's about it for now. Remember, as I said in the beginning, go into the buildingfreedom.dk, I'm linking to it below, and sign up for my newsletter here. You'll hear from me very soon then, and also onto the Facebook side. Now, remember to subscribe and like the video. Take care of yourself and your money out there, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye for now.